I hear all the heard what you say. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'm just telling you. I know it sounds whack. To know, like I said, man, I try to get involved in that business. Yes, sir.
Hi,
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I would like to talk to you whenever I'm given
Where?
an opportunity.
Talk to me after the meeting.
I will.
Or whatever. But we'll talk some more. I'll stop by.
See when that urban development program it started in 2005. That's when they got what, the $20 million grant, and it turned into a $50 million grant. Last time I purchased my property in 06. So I'm like a big grandfather again. I'm not trying to understand. We're just trying to understand. Some light on some awareness.
That's the way we do it. You gotta be creative. It's a way to do some things. You gotta be creative. You got to do more than just like this park cars. You do something beautified. You know, then you come to your landscape. There's a whole lot of things you can do. You know, when you came over here, you started looking at this and that. That's what you're selling.
The meeting for Akron City Council will come to order. Clerk will read the roll.
Freeman, Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
For those who voluntarily wish to do so, will you please stand as we are led in prayer by Councilman Neal. Immediately following our prayer, I'm going to ask if Councilman Kilby will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep.
Clerk will read the minutes from our previously held meeting.
Minutes from the meeting of February 11, 2018. Council convened in regular session at 7 p.m. with President Somerville in the chair. All members were present except Keith. Minutes of the previous regular meeting were approved. Reading of petitions and communications. Passage of the consent agenda. Report of standing and special committees. Passage and referral of new ordinances and resolutions. Representation from various departments and divisions. Public speaking period. No further business on a motion by Fusco. Council adjourned at 7:54 p.m. to reconvene in regular session on February 25th, 2019, or special call.
Any corrections or additions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Letters, petitions, and communications.
Petition of Lillian Mitchell for conditional use to establish a child daycare business center at 1515 Merriman Road.
Attention planning.
Petition of Al-Dakar Holdings Incorporated for a conditional use to retain a used tire sales at 1428 Copley Road.
Attention planning.
Notice of stock of D5J liquor permit to Mocha Maiden Gallery LLC doing business as Mocha Maiden, 17 North Maiden Lane, 20 and 22 North High Street.
Special attention, Councilman Samples.
Notice of a transfer of a D5 liquor permit to KWR LLC doing business as Hardtails, 1527 East Market.
Special attention, Councilman Milkovich.
Notice of a transfer of a D2, D2X, D23, D6 liquor permit to Spaghetti Warehouse LLC, 510 South Main Street.
Special attention, Councilman Somerville.
Correspondence from a New Frontier Homes, Tober Building Company, apprising council that Tober Development Company LLC and Family and Community Services Incorporated plan to share the managing member interest of a residential rental development.
File.
Income tax receipts through the end of January 2019.
File.
Senior Citizens Commission report.
File.
Notice of a C1, C2 liquor permit to Punjab Farm Incorporated doing business as Stop and Go 2, 1143 Lakeshore Boulevard.
Special attention, Councilman Somerville. You have before you the consent agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amovian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky.
On tonight, we do have two public hearings. If there's anyone here in the audience that wishes to speak at any of our public hearings on tonight, we're going to ask that you please stand so that you can be sworn in by our law department. So if there's anyone here in the audience to speak specifically to Allen Street or Vernon Odom.
Okay, if you would, please raise your right hands.
And this is for the public hearing, not to be confused with the public comment period.
Okay. If you would. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do. Thank you.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Legal notice. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, February 25th, 2019, during the regular council meeting at 7 p.m. in Akron City Council Chambers, 166 South High Street, upon an ordinance authorizing conditional use to construct an 8-unit supportive housing apartment on the west side of Allen Street, north of Crozier.
Mr. Antonucci?
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Joanna House 2, Inc. is requesting permission to construct a supportive housing apartment on this property. The petitioner proposes to construct a single-story, 4,760 square foot structure in the southwest portion of the lot. The structure will contain 8 efficiency apartments. There will also be an office area along with a 4-machine laundry area. Construction materials will consist of vinyl siding and an asphalt shingle roof. Petitioner has stated that the apartment, which will offer supportive housing for men or women combating either addiction and or homelessness, is the first phase of their outreach project. The second phase involves building a community center which will offer a wide range of supportive services to the north of their property. Joanna House 2 is a nonprofit that has been operating recovery transitional housing since 2012 in the Akron area. The 8-unit apartment will be a positive addition to this older, distressed neighborhood, and both Planning Commission and Planning staff recommend approval, subject to conditions.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in favor of this ordinance? We're just going to ask when you approach the podium, if you'll please give us your name and your address, and you'll have 3 minutes to present to council.
Hi, my name is LaSalle Harris. I live at 505 Beacon Street, Akron, Ohio, 44311. I am the director of the Joanna House 2 and the founder. I lived over on Crozier Street since the age of 15. And through my addiction, my mental illness, I was able to be delivered in 2007. And I have set on a course to be a vessel to help other people overcome their struggles. We have transitional housing, but I have a lady that's been in our house for 3 years. She tried to go out and get an apartment on her own, and it was unsuccessful. She came back to us, and that's why we feel that the permanent supportive housing would help those who want to live on their own but need additional support. I also went through a 2-year transitional housing program myself because I didn't know how to live on my own, so it was beneficial to me. I have lived experience, and I'm willing and able to pass it on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I live at 409 East South Street, 409 East South Street. My name is Sheila Warnick, and I've been there 3 years.
Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else here in the audience to speak in favor?
My name is Rhonda Scott, and I've been at Joanne's house. I moved there last year, and it's a blessing to be there. And I'm the house manager, and it's a blessing to help somebody else can help you. And since I know LaSalle, she's been giving blessings to me to bless to help other people. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here in the audience to speak in favor?
Hello, my name is Crystal Freeman. I live at 65 Byers. I've watched LaSalle bring her dream to reality, and I too have been through addiction, and this program that she's implementing is a very good thing because you need that foundation in between when you're transitioning to a new level of your life. And this care would be great for our community because we have a lot of lost people and we need to save our own.
Thank you. Anyone else here in the audience to speak in favor? Is there anyone here in the audience to speak against? Is there anyone here in the audience to speak against this ordinance? Seeing and hearing none, we will close our public hearing. Councilman Fusco.
I'd like to pull a committee for a favorable report with suspension of the rules. Amobian. Kamer. Neal. Swirsky.
Aye.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, I'd like to request that the Ward Council representative, Ms. Samples, be added to this legislation as a co-sponsor. The committee's recommendation is favorable, and the basis for this is primarily the planning department is in favor. This is consistent with surrounding land uses, and the petitioners have agreed to, I believe there's 15 different conditions they've agreed to comply with. And as heard earlier, this is people helping people. So I think this is a good land use for this particular area, and we recommend approval this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Amobian?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to be added to this ordinance as a co-sponsor as well. I do know Ms. LaSalle, and I work with her, and I have certainly seen her growth and certainly appreciate the work that she's doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Keith?
Ms. LaSalle, congratulations. What a beautiful thing, and all of the people that came down to speak. That takes a lot of courage, but you've already gone through the hell, and you're on the other side. Giving away is beautiful. May I have my name added to it, please?
Thank you, will do. Okay, any other comments? Councilwoman Samples.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
LaSalle. She is a breath of fresh air for Ward 5, and I have never seen someone work so tirelessly at making sure this day came forward. From the day we met, she would call me on a Sunday. We would meet on a Monday every week, and she never missed a beat. And I'm just so excited for this day so she can share her time, treasures, and talents with those and helping them through their addiction and through their struggles. And I have no doubt that she'll be successful. So you have all my support. Thank you.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Sample, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. Okay, public hearing number 2. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Council of the City of Akron on Monday, February 25th, during the regular council meeting at 7 p.m. in Akron City Council, 166 South High Street, upon an ordinance authorizing a conditional use to establish a used car lot at 595 Vernon Boulevard.
Mr. Antonucci.
Thank you, Madam President, members of council. Joseph Easton is proposing to establish a used car lot at this location. Petitioner is proposing to place a single-story wood or metal building measuring 30 feet by 20 feet for 600 square feet near the central part of the lot. A portion of the lot that is currently paved would contain 20 parking spaces containing vehicles for sale and would front Vernon Odom Boulevard. The planning staff is of the opinion that the development of this vacant lot for used car sales would not be compatible with the objectives of the Land Use and Development Guide Plan nor the Edgewood Urban Renewal Plan. This section of Vernon Odom Boulevard has witnessed major investments over the past decade, including the Odom Branch Library, Helen Arnold Community Learning Center, and Edgewood Homes. As such, a neighborhood-oriented, pedestrian-friendly development would better serve the residents of this neighborhood, and both Planning Commission and Planning staff recommend disapproval.
Thank you. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in favor of this ordinance? May I approach the podium?
Good evening, council members and all else attending. My name is Joseph Easton, Sr., owner of the property in question, which is 595 Vernon Odom Boulevard, Akron, Ohio, 44307. I read this earlier, I'm gonna read it again. It was purchased by myself in the beginning of February 2006. In doing so, it was a dream of mine to have a viable used auto dealership that I could not only benefit myself, but could also benefit the surrounding community, as well as producing jobs in multiple areas: lot maintenance, snow plowing, cleanup. I mean, I could go on and on. Auto sales, vehicle prep, tree trimming, all of which I've already done and have done in previous years to date, as well as this year. With an erection of a building or installation of a building, more jobs could be ultimately obtained. The property in question was a retail location for over 30 years. It included businesses such as a body shop, a gas station, and a drive-through. After purchasing this property, I maintained taxes due in the rear and current. To date, I believe it's to the sum of $27,000. Also, on my tax slip that I just paid this month, it said that I'm paying for a building, which there is no building. I would appreciate it greatly if the judging council would allow me the ability to pursue and obtain my goals at said location. I am open for any questions. I have detailed plans that I've sent to my council lady in December, which showed the layout that Mr. Antonucci mentioned.
Thank you, Mr. Easton. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Council, my name is Harrington Hargrove. Some of you may not know me, but I want to speak in favor of what he's doing, because there's a lot of us black men that want to uplift our community. But this council, they're dragging their feet into letting us have the permission and okay to give us the financing we need. I mean, how many of us have to come down here and go through what he's going through and what I'm going through? But I just want to speak in favor of what he's doing because it's job creation. It's uplifting our community. And then by him doing it and what I want to do, there will be other people that will step forward and want to do something in Ward 3. Ward 3 has been neglected for over 30 years. 30 years. This is Black History Month, the end of it. So why don't this body do something that's going to uplift us? I mean, proclamations is one thing and doing is another. And this council has not done what they should do. We're trying to do something for our community and help others and not just selfishly. And this council just act like we're invisible. Council just act like we're invisible. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance?
Good evening. My name is Donzella Anaskevich. I'm a resident of the city of Akron. I live in Mr. Schwarsky's district. I've gone down there and I looked at the area. Mr. Easton, I'm looking at this from perhaps a different standpoint than some of the other people have spoken. I believe that allowing him to have a used car dealership down there will help create some gentrification in that area. I also have seen car dealerships, and there's one on the corner of Cuyahoga and Talmadge Avenue. It looks, the neighborhood itself is a mixture of commercial and residential. It looks very much like the neighborhood that he already has his business in. And I'm just kind of sort of wondering why there's a car dealership allowed or permitted to be on that corner, but not where he is, when the areas look exactly the same as far as demographics. Also, if he's been paying taxes all these years on that property, just like if we have homes and we're paying taxes on our homes, but we're getting the benefit of living in that home, shouldn't he get the benefit of doing with that area something that he desires to do, a dream of his, and something that will create jobs for people? You know, Edgewood Homes was just regentrified. It looks beautiful down there, but I'm sure there's some people who live down in that area who would like to be able to go around the corner and purchase an automobile rather than having to go all the way across town and purchase an automobile. He's been down there for 18 years. I think he should be given a chance. There are other businesses. I have a girlfriend who lives down there who I visit frequently, and just within a matter of a month, I've seen a dollar store go up across the street, some other businesses that weren't there the last time I went to visit her, and it wasn't like a whole year ago or anything. So I guess I'm just kind of wondering why those businesses are being permitted to open up, you know, and his can't when he's been down there servicing that community for 18 years. I think he deserves a reasonable, viable explanation, especially since the city of Akron's been benefiting from the taxes that he's been paying on that property, yet he can't use it for his own benefit. He can't use it for what he wants to. I just that just doesn't seem fair. And I know life isn't fair, but I do think he deserves a viable, credible reason as to why he cannot do that when other businesses all around him are being created. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this ordinance? Is there anyone here in the audience to speak against? Is there anyone here in the audience to speak against? Seeing and hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Councilman Fusco.
I'd like to pull a committee to refer this item. Mobian, Kamer, Swirsky, Neal.
Thank you. This item will be referred.
Request of the committee.
Councilman Fusco.
The request of the committee, as I find my notes, where's my notes at? Is for time on the balance of the agenda.
Time will be granted.
That's it?
Yeah.
We can go home.
We'll now move into our new legislation, planning.
Okay, 1 second. Item 1 and 2 were the public hearings. Item number 3, offered by Fusco, ordinance accepting a vacation plan for a portion of River Street between Case Avenue and East Exchange Street and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Before the committee is favorable, we're asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Yes, thank you, President Somerville. This is in support of the construction of the fire station number 2. This is River Street, which is located west of the property, and we believe this would be in the best interest of the city to vacate it.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. Item number 4, offered by Fusco, ordinance approving the sale of vacant city-owned property pursuant to the city's Allot for a Little program in order to facilitate the productive reuse of the property, determining said property is not needed for public use, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 5, offered by Fusco, ordinance authorizing the Director of Planning and Urban Development or his designee to apply for, accept, and expend funding for the Summit County Land Reutilization Corporation 2019 Community Development Matching Grant Program, authorizing the expenditure of any local matching funds and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
The report of the committee is favorable, and we ask for suspension of the rules.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Thank you. This is the providing authorization to the Director of Planning to apply for and accept funding from the Summit County Land Reutilization Corporation for, this is in support of demolition of the former Perkins Middle School property at 630 Mull Avenue. This would be matching the $25,000 from the city in terms of the city commitment and county commitment of $25,000, totaling $50,000 for this particular demolition. That's what this legislation is calling for.
Okay, thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Fusco, Hoke, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Samples, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. That's number 6. Yeah. Offered by Fusco, ordinance accepting a dedication plat for a portion of Harmon Avenue and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco? This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 7, offered by Fusco. Ordinance approving the donation of 983 Stadelman Avenue to Summit County Land Reutilization Corporation, determining said property is not needed for public use and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Fusco?
Consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Okay. Item number 8, offered by Keith, a resolution declaring it necessary to improve North Main Street between the termini of State Route 59 and Market Street and South Main Street between the termini of Market Street and Mill Street by paving, grading, constructing, reconstructing curbs, concrete sidewalks, driveway approaches, and utility vaults, installing street lighting and planting trees, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith?
Thank you, Madam President. The committee would like this placed on the consent agenda, please.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 9, offered by Keith, resolution declaring it necessary to improve Talmadge Avenue between the termini of North Main Street and Gorge Boulevard by paving, grading, constructing, reconstructing curbs, concrete sidewalks, driveway approaches, installing roof drain pipes, planting trees, and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith?
Madam President, the committee would also like this item to be placed on the consent agenda.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda.
Item number 10, offered by Keith, ordinance authorizing Director of Public Service or his designee without the formality of publicly advertising for bids to enter into a contract or contracts with master company for the repair or the replacement of 2 sodium hypo mixers at the Akron Water Reclamation Facility and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Keith?
Madam President, the committee's report is favorable, and we are asking for suspension of the rules.
Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, the rules have been suspended.
Okay. This particular item is one that we can actually brag about. We're going from 130 million gallons of water to 220 million gallons that we are able to take care of down at the water reclamation plant. Having said that, in case some of you don't know, May the 1st that's when contamination season begins. And since contamination season begins then, we need to be ready for this with our additional amounts of water that we can take in. And only the manufacturer of this equipment is able to work on this equipment, so that is why it is an emergency.
Thank you. The rules have been suspended. The committee's report is favorable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Roll call and final passage. Fusco, Hope, Kamer, Keith, Kilby, Milkovich, Neal, Amobian, Sample, Sims, Somerville, Swirsky. Item number 11, offered by Kamer, ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent to enter into an agreement without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Bright Computers for the renewal of new motion software and or related services and declaring an emergency.
Councilman Kamer?
Thank you. Committee's report is to place this item on consent agenda, please.
This item will be placed on the consent agenda. We will now go to the portion of our meeting that we refer to as our public comment period. If you wish to speak to council during this time, you may approach the podium. We're going to ask that you please sign in, state your full name, and give us your address. You will have 3 minutes to speak to this body. Speakers are reminded that this is an official meeting. Remarks should be kept respectful and germane to council business. Speakers should refrain from making any personal attacks. Anyone who breaches decorum will be ruled out of order and may be removed from council chambers.
Good evening, Council. My name is Harrington Hargrove. I live at 1008 Laurel Avenue, Akron, Ohio, 44307, and I'm in Ward 3. And I would like to just say, Akron is called an all-American city, but for the black African-American community, we are excluded from the economic opportunity of rebuilding our community. The black community, where will the resources come from under the Akron GAR? And Ward 3 has been denied opportunity for over 30 years. The brother just spoke, he said 18 years of it. I'm talking about 30 years of denial and opportunity where funding is allocated for us, but we don't receive it. HUD has money, the state has money, everyone can grab money except the black community. And that is not right. Okay, and the GAR Foundation finding should have this council to make their finding top priority. Top priority, because you know you got a report before the public did of what's going on in Akron when it comes to the black community. So why won't someone come up with leadership and help us? This makes no sense. It's redlining and discrimination. You cannot, everybody don't like to hear the word redlining, but they paid $100,000 for this report. $100,000 was paid. I've been saying it for 30 years, so why can't I get a portion of that money? Maybe 30,000. So all I want to know is who among you will stand up and honor the report that has been done. I didn't write the report, but I'm a part of it. This brother that just left, he's a part of it. And it's a lot of brothers that faded away and sisters that have faded away because of discouragement. So let's have leadership and let's have commitment. I've been asking, I come to this council quite regularly, and my story is the same. Economic development and the black community.
So you have about 30 seconds.
And the black community. Economic development and the black community. How many I got left? Economic development and the black community. Council, what will you do? Where's the leadership going to come from down here? I asked Mr. Somerville, I love him as a brother. He knows the situation down here. So let's do something. Let us rebuild our own community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hargrove. Anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period?
Good evening, all. The prayer that the councilman opened with.
Could you please just first give us your name and your address
My
for
name
the
is
record?
Stephen Purefoy, 20 Mile Up Street, apartment 301. The prayer you opened with, it was powerful. If we could internalize it, it would mean something, actually, other than words. It's easy to demonize minorities and people that don't have the power. It absolutely is. Anyhow, 2008, I was involved in an accident. APD actually ran me over. It was in the black community also. $60,000 was paid. No one knows how it got paid. My spine looks like that. It's a wonder I'm walking right now. It was ruled non-founded. I followed explicit instruction, exactly what the officer did, told me to do. Handcuffs, face down on the street. Where the undercarriage hit me, it struck my feet first. I'm almost hobbled. I have to have injections in my feet periodically. I can show you my spine is like that. However, non-founded from now, then to now, there is no legitimate recourse. No, it doesn't exist. I've been to the mayor's office. That's shameful. Police say if I come back down there, they'll arrest me. I'm prepared to go to jail. It doesn't matter. And the statute of limitations is not good enough to say it just ran out. It was compromised from day one. I don't know what, I don't know how, but it's just not right. We need, it's opportunity for me. It's opportunity for us all to get it right. We should get it right. What do you do? No, it was a black community that saw it. What are you saying to us? What are you saying to us? This is unscripted. I don't want to babble, but let the spirit move. I'm done.
Thank you.
Before I get into my thing, usually your clock is working. Is your
I
clock
understand
out?
that. I'm doing. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I know when I need to talk faster when I see those seconds ticking away. So I really like it when you can see the.
Okay. We'll have
and I
that
didn't
ready for
bring
you
my
next
timer
week.
with me tonight, but so that don't count that against me.
It started.
Okay. My name is Steve Noem. My address 1928 6th Street, Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, and I'm here once again about the retirees' insurance situation, the spouses' retirees. Now, on February 2nd, Groundhog Day was observed, and there's a movie called Groundhog Day, and it was seen a lot around that time. And it's the story of a disgruntled TV meteorologist who's been assigned the job of letting his viewers know whether Punxsutawney Phil sees his shadow. He ends up trapped in Punxsutawney due to bad weather, and then he finds that he's reliving that very same day over and over and over again, and there's nothing he can do about it. And I got to admit, that movie makes me think of my experience in council. You know, I come here and I talk, and you're all polite and thank me for coming and everything, but at the end of the day, it's this very same thing. And it's as frustrating to me as it is to the guy in that movie. Now, there's decisions that get made that can't be easily reversed, can't be changed. I guess I'm thinking of the inner belt. You know, when I hired in with the city, they tore down all these houses, they put in this massive road and spent millions and millions and millions on it. Well, I guess they decide that's not such a good idea. But now that's a hard decision to change. But the decision of denying retiree spouses affordable health insurance, that's not quite as hard. You know, and I've yet to hear justifications. They say, well, we saved money. But how much do you save? Nobody seems to know. If you don't know how much money you saved, was it a good decision? I've been asking, and I'm still asking, let's review this situation and look, is this too expensive for the city? Does it need to be paid more by the retirees? There's got to be a solution there. I know that going out into that insurance market, the affordable insurance thing is a joke, and the quality insurance you get isn't near. You know, I said that's the bad of it. You guys provided good insurance to spouses and retirees. We're trying to get that back at a price that we can afford that doesn't bankrupt the city. And
10 seconds, Mr. No.
Okay. No one seems to want to do that, but let's get a committee, a blue ribbon task force, a blue ribbon committee, some kind of committee to actually look at it and see if we can make a change.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period?
My last thing is, I won't be here next week because I've got to do stuff with my 2-year-old grandson. So it's not that I don't care about insurance.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Easley, 870 Mercer Avenue. I have a concern. It's been bothering me for a couple of weeks, but the night before Christmas, my lights went out. So luckily they came back on. So my question is, in the event that there's power loss to us, the citizens, considering that you guys started the snow task, could it be considered to designate some warming places in the event that people lose their power? Because I think there's about 6,000 people tonight without power at their homes. So no power, no heat. So that's just my concern. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Easley, for sharing. Anyone else wishing to speak during our public comment period? Seeing and hearing none, we will close our public comment period and move into our committee assignments. Rules, Councilman Keith. Budget and Finance, Councilman Keith. Planning, Councilman Fusco. Public Service, Councilman Keith. Public Utilities, Councilman Samples. Public Safety, Councilman Kamer. Parks and Rec, Councilman Neal. Housing, Councilman Kilby. Health and Social Services, Councilman Amobian. Economic Development, Councilman Sims. Green Committee, Councilman Swirsky.
12:30.
Is there anything else coming before council? Councilman Amobian?
This is not an area for action, but I think it's important that we let the citizens know that the Senior Citizens Commission came before us this afternoon to give us a preliminary report of some of the work they're doing, and it's tied to what the mayor talked about in his State of the City address. But what I thought was important was that these individuals talked to us today about the listening sessions they have been having for nearly a year, maybe over a year now, throughout our community, and the fact that they are, with the support of the administration, applying through the AARP to become an age-friendly city. Just as we are a welcoming city for individuals who are foreign and for the gay community. We are becoming an age-friendly city. There are a couple of things I'd just like to share with you that they shared a report. Again, it's a report of the listening sessions they've had thus far. This is just a beginning of what they hope to do. But what I thought was interesting, they have 7 guiding questions that they are taking around to all of their listening sessions. And they're following the 8 main domains of an age-friendly city. And these domains are public space, transportation, housing, loneliness and socializing, diversity and social inclusion, civic participation and employment, communication and information sharing, community and health services. These are the kind of guiding domains that most of the age-friendly cities are following. As we learn more, we certainly will talk to you more, but what I found was quite interesting is that they would like to look at 1 or 2 of these domains as they move forward and kind of focus on those, but again, they have not finalized their decision yet. But in the areas that they have been listening to, under safety, communication, services, and transportation, safety, for instance, looking at the abandoned buildings, neighborhood safety concerns, looking at the prospect of establishing senior lock boxes for emergency access to homes. Under communication, what was interesting is that we often think of seniors as not being socially, online, digital, knowledgeable. However, when they have the equipment and they have the training, they said many of them will utilize these skills to communicate and get access to information. For instance, they are talking about becoming more aware of the resources that are available in the city, for instance. One of the things we do know that Summit County, which Akron is included, is really rich with resources. And they talked about, as they listen to the citizens talk about some of their needs, there are a lot of opportunities for us to make some improvements looking at the low-hanging fruit, because we do have a number of resources. For instance, Direction Home, which used to be called the Area Agency on Aging. We have an agency called Vantage, which used to be called Mature Services. Both of these agencies cater to the senior citizens, and they have lots of resources that are available. So we talked about some of those things. With regard to transportation, we know as individuals age, and we know that people are getting older. So one of the things I was happy when the mayor reactivated the Senior Citizens Commission, because we have a lot of people aging, and we know that if we address the issues and concerns of senior citizens, we address issues that are facing families, because all of us are kind of sandwiched in trying to take care of seniors as well as our own families. And
That's about 30 seconds, Ms. Mulley.
Thank you very much. And as we age, we are not able to drive and do some of the things we used to do as well as we used to do them. So access to transportation is critically important, so that was an issue as well. But again, it was a preliminary report, and I thought it was well done, and they are coming back to us at some point in the future to share with us more of their concerns and more of their direction of what they would like to do moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Neal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I had an opportunity to participate in an event Sunday that honored one of our own, Councilwoman Linda Mobian, who I thought I knew pretty well, but to have people come from across the state to give her accolades about her accomplishments, not just locally, not just within the state, but nationally, made me feel proud to be able to serve with someone of such high esteem. So no, out of all seriousness, congratulations on that. And it comes to to just let us know, all of us stand on the shoulders of those who came before us. To hear how she praised Sister Helen Arnold and learned from her and then built on her legacy. I was thinking about that. When I came in, you know, Mr. Bob Outerman came in when I came in. And to be able to serve with someone like, him, and to be down here and have the public comment period, and hear Ethel Chambers come down. Some of you may not remember, he was saying the same thing Mr. Hargrove was saying. Mr. Larry Boyer came down. And it was a older white gentleman, you may remember Mr. Keith, what's his name? Max Sibbett. These people, using the term of my sister, they agitated this council, just like an agitator in a washing machine, and helped us become better, helped us improve our city. So with what we hear, you know, one thing I want us from council added with our minutes, every request that comes across the public comment period, that we jot it down, and if it has a committee that we can send it to, that it be sent to a committee. We need to see if we're acting on those items. And then as far as that Elevate Akron report, as a council and as an administration, we are not serious until we enact a racial equity policy. We have to work together to develop a racial equity policy. This council, as legislators, we cannot use the word equity, inclusion, if we don't have a definition for it. So, you know, we're so privileged to be able to honor those who came before us and build on the work that they've done. I cannot sit down without thinking of Mr. Ed Davis, you know, who opened the door for many of us. So, you know, from Mr. Nome with the retirees and this Elevate Akron report, we have to do our due diligence and look at these things and answer them. So, Mr. Clerk, Madam President, what I'm asking for is when people come down here and ask if there's not a committee that it can be assigned to, that we keep it as a part of our minutes and we can see how long it sits on our docket before we address it. We may not be able to give them the answer they want, but at least we will do our due diligence and give them an answer. I think we owe that to those who have come before us, who work to improve the quality of life, and we're all benefiting from what they've done, and we definitely owe it to those who come down here and ask. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else coming before council? Can we please have a motion to excuse Councilman Freeman? All in favor signify by saying aye. We have a motion for adjournment. Any objection? Seeing and hearing none, we are adjourned.
This concludes the live broadcast of Akron City Council. Margot Somerville, President of Council, presiding.